All right, Spurs Bros, episode 4. We're back today. We got a full house. Me, Alec, Stuart, and Tim. We're going to review the last 3 games since episode 3. We're going to talk about is Jeremy Sohan making a case for most improved player? Stephon Castle, lockdown defense, on ball, off ball. How's he looking so far? First 3 games of the year. CP3's imprint on the young Spurs. And we're going to end it with a hot take. Should Julian Champagny start over Devin Vassell when Vassell returns? Find out the answer on episode 4 of the Spurs Bros Pod.
Alrighty, Spurs Bros, welcome back to another episode. This is episode 4. I am your host, Alec Bogus, and these are my co-hosts, Reagan Keogh, Tim Mendez, and Stuart Lynch. How are we all doing?
Doing good,
Doing good.
fellas?
Good. Since we last spoke, we hadn't yet played a basketball game, and since then, over the past week, we played 3. We kind of want to recap for our Spurs Bros fans, maybe who didn't get to catch the games, sort of what happened there. We'll go a little bit high level, and then we'll dig down into each game. So, man, since we last spoke, we had the season opener against the Mavericks over in Dallas. We lost to the Mavericks 120 to 109. Tim was the closest to calling the score. He was off by score. He was off by 2 points each, so 122 to 111 was the actual score, or was Tim's guess. 120 to 109 was the actual score. So great job, Tim. I guess we
It's
owe you a
close,
drink.
man.
Yeah, yeah.
Uh, Not how I
um,
win. Would rather the Spurs get the win, but thank you.
Quick thoughts on this. I'll just talk on Wemby for just a half a second. I thought he was still a little bit rusty to start. He kind of just continued on from his preseason play, which was again a little rusty. So he missed a few gimmies. And sort of this eye test observation. This is something that's been sitting in the back of my mind for a little bit. Partly because Stu, you brought this up a long time ago. You probably don't remember, but his eye test for me is sort of like his conditioning. It's always been like a factor for me that like it's really stood out. Like he'll have spurts of greatness in each game, right? He'll have a block and then a three, and then he'll have a steal and a dunk or something. But then like there'll just be like points of the game where just sort of nothing happens, and that sort of kind of showed itself again in the season opener. And I think Stu, you were the one that mentioned this. I think you said that some scout said that that's like one of the biggest things I needed to work on was sort of like his conditioning. And I've always sort of seen this whenever all last year he was out for any stretch of period of games, could have been 2 games. He'd come back and he'd seem really winded really fast. And so I don't know if that's because of his body type. He's 7 foot freaking 5 or what. But I sort of noticed that, come for this first game. So overall, he played all right, but he wasn't the showstopper that the other players had. So anything else, guys, that you saw from game one?
I noticed that same thing last year. I know you're kind of saying it's starting to become a trend. Maybe it's what we're gonna just expect from him as the season goes on. I mean, we talked about it a few weeks ago. He put on 20 pounds. So
Right.
maybe it's getting used to the new body type too, you know. He was in the Olympics, probably took some time off at different points of the summer than maybe he's used to. I don't know, but I think Pop kind of alluded to that being something that could be happening in game one, and we saw it.
Mhm.
So
Yeah.
yeah, he had those couple highlight spurts and incredible plays, but yeah, he's got to go grab his rest, and then we get beautiful old Zach Collins on the court.
To sub in the game.
That has
Uh,
always been a thing. When Torres always talked about it as he was coming to the league, like you said,
right.
Alec, the scouts, he would be just the best player in the world for a 2 minute period of a game,
Yep.
have like three. And we saw it a couple times last year where you have, a block, go down, make a three, get a rebound, go down, have a dunk, just completely take over the game for 2 minutes and do incredible things. But then he'll just disappear for 5, 6 minutes of a game. And yeah, I noticed that always happens when we're running up and down too much. I think
Mhm.
it's critical that, and I think Chris is helping that so far, but we do need to slow the game down a lot, and that'll help Wimby more. But yeah, just the faster these games are, tougher it is for him. And you see
Yeah.
it with all the stars too, Jokic. It's tough for them, but just goes with conditioning. Hopefully, it gets better throughout the season.
Yeah, it did last season. I do remember that. I kept an eye on it, and it definitely did. Like as he played, 10, 20 games in a row or whatever, it was a non-factor really. And then obviously toward the end of last year, he understood himself. He understood how to start scoring and dominating. we don't need to recap the whole last season, but yeah. So maybe again, hopefully it's just a beginning of the season thing. I think so because he did bounce back against the home opener against the Rockets, which we'll get into in a bit. But going back to that Mavs game, Julian Champagnie, he was the star of the show. So while we're here, we did Spurs Bros. I don't know if you saw. If you don't follow us on Instagram, please follow us on Instagram at Spurs Bros Pod. And we did hit our bet. We did hit our line. So congratulations to all of us.
Four
Yeah,
for
4 for 4
four.
on the
Four for
four-leg
four.
parlay.
Yep. And a big part of that was Julian Champagnie. He was sort of the star of our show. He poured in 18 points, shot 7 of 12 from the field, 4 of 8 from the 3-point line, 50%, really great. He also added 7 rebounds, 3 assists, 2 blocks, and a steal. Man, he was great. Any comments there on Julian?
Played really well. He showed why he just got that starting spot
Yeah.
over Keldon or anybody else. So that's something else we can touch on. I was wrong. You three were right on the starting spot. Julian showed why he deserved that until Vassell gets back. But yeah, go ahead, Tim.
No, yeah, you're exactly right. I thought he definitely deserved it over. Yeah, I think Keldon's a bench player now. I didn't really want Keldon starting, but I guess fortunately and unfortunately, when Devin comes back, I think Julian moves back to the bench, and but that's exciting. I like to see him coming off the bench with that second unit. That second unit, things can get kind of clogged up, so he'll help with the spacing. His defense has been good too. I know we're talking about the Dallas game right now, but he had a couple or one really nice block at the rim last night on Şengün.
Mm.
So I think his defense looks a lot better. Yeah, Julian's, but he didn't have the best shooting night last night, but his offensive game has looked really good, and he's being more aggressive than he was last year. Kind of how he looked 2 summers ago, like he was just dominating summer league.
Yeah,
Right.
Summer League.
It's a completely different level of competition, but no, it's cool to see. It's cool to see.
Yeah, I see that same confidence back. I feel like Pop's given him quite the green light to start the year so far. He knows we need the
Yeah.
shooting and the spacing, and it's falling on Champagnie a bit. So yeah, it's great. I like it so far.
Mhm.
Devin, get back soon. But in the meantime, Champagnie's done pretty well.
Yep.
Yep. Julian, talk about a man who's worth his money. I think we have him very cheap right now. It might be
Oh
three a
yeah,
year. And then we're
Yeah.
paying Zach just an infinity amount of money for
17.
his
Yeah,
worth these days. So I mean, yeah, Julian just
Yeah.
making the most of it and
Yes, he
playing
is.
great so far.
Absolutely. Steph Castle, he took advantage of his time when he was out there. When we played against the Mavs. He didn't have a ton of minutes, but when he did, he still showcased sort of, Tim, what you were talking about, his ability to get to the free throw line. He had a lot of trash time minutes and then buckets as a result. He scored and kind of cut the game to actually brought it within the 11 that we ended up losing by. But so Steph did well. I liked what I saw there. And then what was really interesting is that, Malachi, Blake, Mamu, and Bassi, they didn't tally up a lot of minutes at all. Only 9 minutes for Blake, and then 6 for Malachi and Mamu. So that was really interesting to see. I know all of us here, we want to see more Mamu, but
Mamu.
yeah, but really interesting to not see Malachi
It's
in that
not going to
first game.
happen.
Yeah.
Yeah,
It
I think
won't.
Mamu's too far down the rotation right now. But one thing was with Castle, he really impressed me. Game one
Mhm.
in Dallas. On ball defense against both Kyrie and Luca. I mean, he got a few times, but he got his too on the defensive end. He forced a couple really tough shots on ball defense against two of the best one-on-one players in the whole league.
Yep.
It was impressive. I was impressed by it to start. I think it's showcasing what everybody knows his best skill is, and he came to play for his first game and without a lot of expectation to be a scorer. I think he filled his role really well.
Dude, absolutely. I think it showed because literally game two, Stefan played like 28, 30. Because I checked everything. I was like, man, he played a lot of
Yeah,
minutes now. He was literally in for like 30 minutes, got all the crucial minutes down the stretch over
Yep.
Julian. And even when they put Julian back in, I was like, oh, Steph's going out. But they took Keldon out instead. And so that shows that Pop really wanted it because he was covering Van Vliet and Jalen down the stretch. And I was like, damn. So that shows that they're really noticing his D. That's going
yeah.
to pay off for us.
Yeah,
Absolutely.
100%. It was that closing like minute. I think it was about a minute left on the clock. Van Fleet was trying to run pick and roll, putting Steph and Wimby in the pick and roll, and they shut that down. Castle fought over the two screens. They tried
Mhm.
it from the left side. They tried it from the right. He fought over both. Wemby's length kind of gave a quick little show. But yeah, Castle got right back, forced up an air ball at the 24-second clock. So that's crucial minutes right there against a former All-Star in Van Vliet. It's cool to see, man. 2 games in a row with it. I think it's great. I love
Yeah.
it.
It's like as Pop said in the post game interview, or maybe even in I heard it during the game. So maybe one of the announcers, maybe Sean Elliott or somebody was talking about it during the game that Pop told Stephon Castle, "Hey, I had to remind him that he should be a sophomore in college right now, and instead he's out here
Yeah.
just
Crazy.
that doesn't like." And so again, and he's a guard. He's fighting over screens. It's so hard to do that in today's NBA in general. I mean, guys are just so much bigger and so talented, and anybody can score. And so like that's why so many teams, every team runs the pick and roll. Like when offenses break down, that's what everyone resorts to. First thing is pick and roll, high pick and roll, because it's so hard to beat, especially if you're good at it. But I mean, man, Stephon played great. But speaking of somebody else who played great on defense, the opening night was Jeremy Sohan. Jeremy, our man, he
The
is having
destroyer.
quite the start to the season. He had 18 points and he played great defense, especially when he was guarding Luka. Supposedly, Sohan limited Luka Doncic to 13 points on 5 of 15 shooting from the field in the season opener when he was guarding him, which is amazing. So let's just talk about Jeremy for a bit. What do we see from Sohan from the
Yeah,
start of the
so
season?
so Stu, was the bad shooting night from Luca, was that more of Sohan or was that Fat Boy Luca like you called out?
I did call that out. I mean, I've been following the Mavs these last couple of games. Luca still sucks, so I think it's just Fat Boy Luca to start the
All
season.
right.
But Jeremy has been killing it, so
You got to
little of
give
both.
Jeremy some credit though, I
Yeah,
think. He's looked awesome, man. And just like I said a second ago with Champagny kind of looking empowered with a bit of a green light. Sohan's confidence is higher than I've seen in the Spurs uniform so far. He looks very sure of himself. He's taking the ball to the rim, hitting a couple of mid-range, little turnaround middies from 8, 10, 12 feet
Yeah.
contested. Since when does he have that?
His yeah, those turnaround fadeaway middies, yeah, he didn't have that the previous couple of years. And yeah, his touch just looks a lot better. The first game, like I immediately texted you guys when he shot his first free throw, like, uh-oh, like I thought he was gonna shoot two-handed. He's back to one hand. So that
Yeah, he's back to
a
the
little
one.
nervous at first, but no, his touches look great. And I think he's only taken like 4 threes so far this year. He's only made one, but he's not hesitating on that either. Looks like there's a little bit of a hitch in it, but I mean, he's been working all summer long on it. I think he won't hesitate when he gets those wide open threes, and he'll start knocking some down. But yeah, he's at his best when he's attacking and getting to the rim, and now he's got kind of mid range ability. So it's cool to
yeah,
see.
he's been slashing a lot more this year. I think last year he was hanging around the three too much, and
Right.
obviously he's not a great shooter. So I think he really learned, or someone told him, this is what you're best at. Do it, and we're seeing rewards of it so far. These first couple of games, he's averaging like 18, 10 boards more than Wemby. Yeah, he's just been killing it so far. But yeah, like y'all said, he's driving. He's out. He's stronger than people. He's
Yep.
taking people to the weight room. He's hitting his free throws one handed still.
Mhm.
But yeah, he's going. He has way more of a collection close to the rim now that
Yes.
he can use. So he's really shown off so far, and he's literally been our best player on the team so far.
Yeah. Tim,
Totally.
I know you said it's a little hitch. I feel like that's kind of glossing it over. I thought my TV was skipping every time he took a 3-point shot. And I know there's only been three or four, but it's like it's a legitimate pause halfway up. Am I the
Yeah.
only one seeing that?
I
Like
think
I
that's
know he
how it's
doesn't need
always
to
been,
I
right?
might have
I don't
understood it.
I don't know. I thought it was even more of a pause or a hitch to me. And I know that the touch is there mid-range, so I don't really care right now. He's not a 5-3 a guy game, but
Yeah.
I'm not
I
worried
mean,
about it with everything else he's bringing to the table. But I,
yeah.
I did think it
Yeah,
was
keep
worth
keep
pointing
averaging
out.
18 and 10, and we won't talk shit.
Yeah,
Yes.
yeah,
You're
not at
fine.
all.
No, he is making a really great case for most improved player. I'm not gonna maybe not go that far, but first 3 games last year he averaged 9 points, 5.7 rebounds, 4 assists on 39% shooting, and the first 3 games this year it is actually 19 points, Stu,
Yeah.
9 boards, 3 assists on 52% shooting. So you're exactly right. I mean,
That's crazy.
yeah, I mean, he's getting to the rim a lot. He's either, he's catching it and ripping it and going. And like you said, weight room, he's stronger than a lot of people. He knows how to use his elbows and separation with the shoulders and everything like that. So that's been good. And obviously, this is all really small sample size, but yeah, I mean, he's shot 71% from the free throw line, 10 of 14, so not bad.
Damn
Yep.
good.
And on last week's pod, it's what we were talking about, that Jeremy needed to step up this year and show he's a two-way player, and so far he is.
Yeah.
Yeah, you called it, Stu.
I went to a Spurs game last year. I just looked it up. It was when we played Portland, and that might have been his best game of the year last year. He had 31 and 14. And I remember texting you guys, I think, if we can get this more on a game-to-game basis, like not expecting it, but if we can get it, like that'd be unbelievable. And
Yeah,
yeah,
we're in business.
shown it.
I don't know if you saw what Pop said about him after the game, after that loss, I think it was against Houston, the third game. And he said, man, he plays his heart out every single night, both ends of the floor. He's just a true competitor. And I love him. What do you guys think about so kind of leading into the last two games, the against Houston? What do you guys think about this sort of newfound rivalry? This is
I'm all about it.
oh my
it.
gosh. Oh my
I
gosh.
love it.
We were
I
talking
love it.
I know.
I love it.
We were
Fuck Houston.
yeah, as Jeremy says.
Yeah, as Jeremy said.
Yeah.
And the Houston guys saw that too on Twitter or whatever. They saw it.
Hell yeah, they saw
That
it.
was before game one too. Yeah. So
Dude, what was funny to me is after this last game last night, the game 3 that we lost, Van Vliet came up to Sohan after the game. He was talking shit in his face. He was getting into him, pointing in his face and everything like that. One of the staff members for the Spurs pulled him off, but they're asking Jeremy about it after the game, and they're like, what was going on? What did he say? Was it getting personal? And he was like, it was just competitive. Whatever he said doesn't matter. I don't take it personal at all, but I know they do.
yeah, he's like, but they take
He
it
laughed.
personal.
Yeah.
And then just had a little
Yeah.
side smirk. I was like, that's our boy.
I love it. I love it. I can't wait for that next game against Houston. It's going to get testy.
I would say we already play them again soon. I think next week.
Yep.
So
Oh wow. I didn't know that. So yeah,
the first
3
game
times.
was Brooks and Wimby started that shit. You know him.
Yep.
And then the second game was Jeremy and whatever his name was on those.
Jabari Smith.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Jabari.
Oh yeah, that too. I mean, they were all
They're the
getting
ones
into
who
it.
got the double tech. Yeah. So
Yeah.
starting to heat up. I love it, man. Imagine a real series against them in playoffs one day, maybe a couple years down the road. That will be lit.
That
Yeah,
will
well.
probably happen. I was just thinking about that in the next couple of years.
No, they're far off from playoffs. At least 6 to 10 years still.
6 to 10 years. Weren't they like even last year? 41 and 41 last year or something?
I think they
Yeah,
finished the
don't-
11th seed. I mean,
Don't
okay.
tell a Houston fan that.
Yeah. Well, you know what? Somebody said it was, man, it must suck for Houston fans given the fact that they picked Jabari Smith over Sohan. They could have had Sohan, I think it was, right? Was that the same year? So I wonder if they feel that way or what.
they're all still riding with Jabari
Yeah.
Smith.
Yeah, I love Sohan, but yeah, I mean,
Yeah, we don't watch
Smith
Houston
got-
night in and night out, but Jabari's pretty good.
He's pretty
Yeah.
good. He's pretty
Yeah.
good. Kind of going into those games, we did win that bounce back game after the loss against Mavericks. We came in, we won our home opener against the Rockets. Wibby, he came out and he did his thing. He came out strong. He had 29 points, 7 boards, assist in 30 minutes of play. And he also had it going on the defensive end as well. He shut down Alperen Sengun. I knew it, dude. We talked about this. Alperen Sengun, he had a big game against Wimby sort of last year. I think it was like the third time we played him in the year. And then he got hurt, so I don't think he played against that last time, Spurs versus Rockets. But I know for a fact everyone on Twitter was talking, oh my gosh, he owns Wimby. Who is this dude? We might need to start having some conversations about this guy. He's not, the generational player he says he is, whatever. So I'm sure that was probably in his mind as well. The rivalry going on. He shut Sengun down to 6 points, 5 boards, and 2 assists in 22 minutes of play. So
And benched in the fourth quarter, Şengün.
Yeah,
he didn't
maybe.
see a lick of playing time in the fourth quarter. The matchup was so bad. They had to get other people in there to try to make up for the
Yep.
deficit. Yeah, he couldn't handle them.
Yeah. Yep. And one of the other things we were talking about was sort of this Reed Shepherd versus Stephon Castle. We were looking forward to seeing that. And little do we know that Reed Shepherd wouldn't be really playing much.
Dude, I was gonna
So,
say Reed's just he should be in the G League. Get, get his
I
ass to Houston G League. He's not playing at all. I mean, and I
mean,
guess rightly so. I mean, who's he gonna play over? Stephon can get minutes because all we have is CP3 ahead of him and Trey.
right.
But I mean, he's not gonna play over Van Vliet and Jalen Green. Even last year's pick, Thompson, Amen, whichever
Oh,
one it
man.
is. But yeah,
Yeah.
he's not gonna play
Yeah,
over. So I
man.
mean, yeah, he I don't know. Might be a bad year for him just right in the bench.
Yeah, bro. They're talking about next Steph Curry. You can't even get on the court.
Yeah, why not? Tim, do you know why that is? Is it a rotation thing? Like they just have too many guys, too much talent, and they're trying to see,
I think so.
or
I think they have too many guards. Back before the draft when we were talking, like who's Houston going to take at three? I didn't really get the Reed stuff, but I guess he's best player available. They thought, I think I asked you guys, do you think they take Klingon? I think he might have fit in
Yeah.
better. Uh,
Yeah.
I don't know. You can't blame them for taking Reed Shepherd though, but
right?
yeah, I don't know. Maybe he will play in the G League a little bit, unless they have an injury or something.
Yeah. Going back to Steph, he did play his butt off, and again, kind of talked about him at the start of the podcast. But man, he knocked down 3 of 4 free throws at the end of the game to sort of seal the deal against the Rockets. We were kind of leading for those who didn't watch the whole game, and then they made a comeback, and it got pretty dicey toward the end. We thought we were going to give up another game, and I was starting to get that sick feeling in my stomach again, kind of like you said, Tim. I'm
I
sick.
said I'm sick.
I'm sick. We saw it coming, but man, we held him off, and a big reason was Steph. He knocked down 3 or 4 free throws at the end. It looked like he had hurt his wrist as well. I don't know if you guys noticed this, but it
Yeah, he
looked
got
like
it taped up.
yeah, he was taped up, and he kept on doing this number when he was on the side. He was kind of in the corner as CP was sort of initiating offense toward the end. But so I was worried about him as he stepped up to the free throw line. But man, knocked out 3 or 4. I was impressed, man. I just love to see it. Had 8 points, 3 assists, a block, and 2 steals. I'm just continuing to love him, man. He's been so good for us.
Yeah, I don't know if some rankings already come out for after week one, but I know a couple pods ago before the season we were talking about rookie of the year. I've
Mhm.
been following Zach Edey hasn't done shit. Reed Shepard's right in the bench. Not sure about Sar, but I mean he's on the worst
Mm.
team in the league, so might be Stefan's to lose. Quite honestly,
Risa Shea
that'd
almost had
be
a
Ariza
tie,
Shea
tie.
Yeah.
side of the backboard,
Yeah.
bro.
Almost.
Oh
Yeah,
Dude,
man,
that was
almost.
bad.
so
Yeah,
that'd be pretty sick if we had rookie of the year 2 years in a row. Oh,
Twice.
San
Yep.
Antonio.
that would be nice. And then so that was the second game of the season. Third game of the season, we had we replayed the Rockets again, and this time we did lose. I actually didn't really catch much of the game. I rewatched the highlights, but I kind of heard it was sort of the opposite, right? Right, Reagan. You said it was sort of the opposite of the second game of the year.
Yeah, I mean, as far as game script goes, it really seemed like it was the exact reverse of the game on Saturday, where we pulled away early on Saturday, let them creep back into it, held them off at the very end. Um, it was basically the exact opposite, right? Houston got off to a quick start. I think Jalen Green had 6 threes in the first half. Dude couldn't miss and kind of shows you some of his potential coming through. But yeah, same thing. When you make a push and you're down 20 plus points, you're fighting, you're clawing, scraping, trying to get back into the game, trying to get back into a position to lead and win late. It takes everything just to get back, and a couple shots go down for Houston, and that's all she wrote. So good effort to get back into it, but I wish, I think Houston brought the competitive edge. They were locked in more than we were to start. That's us
Mhm.
being young, but Houston's young too. So I think that's part of the growth that we need to show. I wish we could have been more competitive for a better portion of that game, but yeah, we'll see if we can bounce back. Got another big test against the Thunder, so
Mhm.
that hopefully this will be a wake-up call. We get all this Houston drama and shit talk out of the way, and lock in for the Thunder.
Yep. Tim, anything?
Yeah.
Any thoughts on that game?
Yeah, we just couldn't hit shots to in the first half to start the game, and then maybe like halfway through the second quarter, finally start moving the ball better, hitting some shots. But then it seemed like next possession, Houston would also hit a shot, so we just couldn't cut into the deficit. Yeah, it looked like for a while we might score like 35 points in the first half, but
Yeah.
got it up to 45. Then, yeah, I missed a lot of the third quarter, but it was nice to see that we had a better third quarter. That's what we've struggled with a lot over the last couple of years.
Mhm.
Scored 30 points. That was tied for our highest quarter in the game. And fourth quarter defense looked good. We didn't give up, stayed in it. But yeah, like Reagan said, just we had a really good break that went our way at the end of the game. The 6 point possession, basically.
Yeah, yeah, that was sick.
Yeah. But yeah, terrible leaving Van Vliet open for a wide open three at the end. So
Mm.
as a
Yeah.
Yeah, you reminded me about that,
Keldon
Tim.
going for an unnecessary double. Absolutely no reason.
So you
Well,
think it was on Devin?
to me, no, Devin wasn't in the game.
I'm sorry, Keldon.
Yeah, but I
Keldon,
think so Keldon and
unless Pop
Jeremy
told
had the
him.
double team on Van Vliet there, and as he shaded them, he pushed them to the right. Malachi's got Eason in the corner, and or Jabari Smith in the corner, and whatever. I'm getting the players mixed up, but I know it was Malachi in the off
It was
corner. He
Easton
was
in the corner. I
Yeah,
remember
Eason in the
texting, why the
corner.
hell is he staying on Easton and leaving
Yeah, two passes
freaking Van
away.
Vliet wide open? Yes.
I think the double team was planned, honestly, because I don't see any other reason to go double that. Your late game, you're trying to force a turnover, get the ball back. I think that's there. To me, that's Malachi falling asleep on the backside, and he was
Absolutely.
he was two, maybe three steps late getting that rotation. And for a shooter like Van Vliet had it, that's wide open. It was knocked down. Cash,
yeah,
game was over.
And
That was
unfortunately,
real frustrating.
the only reason he was in the game was because he was part of
was
our comeback. So he had a
shooters.
couple of threes. Yeah, he wouldn't have
Right.
even been in the game.
Yeah.
It would have been Stephon or someone
Yeah,
better
was
defending. So that's what sucks about it. He shouldn't have even been
Mm.
in, but Pop left him in because he was freaking knocking down a couple shots, which we know that's what he's good for. But that point right there proved that that's why he can't be in the game because he doesn't know his rotations. He's watching ball, being slow.
Mm.
Yeah, but the other thing with that was Pop leaving him in. That was coming off of the free throw, wasn't it? From Chris Paul? No, Chris Paul hit the three free
They
throw, and
did
then we
a
scored again. So we left him in for that
yeah
offensive
for
possession.
the
Yeah, you're
offensive
right. You're
possession.
right. Yeah,
Yeah, I bet maybe if Houston would have called his timeout, we would have come on with a defensive group instead of him. But it's just
yeah,
unfortunate.
Mm.
I would have loved to be 2-1 over 1-2 though, because we got a tough schedule ahead. If we can just
Yeah.
fight to stay around the 500 mark, that'd be
Yeah.
great.
That will be tough. Yeah, Spurs Bros. We have for our upcoming next four games, by the time we record our next podcast, we play against the Thunder tomorrow, then the Jazz,
L
Timberwolves, and
W
Clippers.
L L.
So you think we go night there
Well,
you go.
one
See?
and three in the next four. Yes, we're going to be 2-6 by the time we have the next pod.
Okay, well, you know what? I'm so glad that we captured the optimistic stew for last podcast because now we're reverting right back
yeah.
to the
That's just
mean, man.
gone.
That is Stuart at his
Facts.
finest. L
Facts. We
W
suck. But what
L
I
L.
texted after when we were going to do our little pod after the first game, I
Right.
said no. F you guys and F the Spurs. I'm done with it. We suck.
Yeah, that was really quick. What a quick turnaround. So okay,
You don't
well,
think we can beat the Clippers?
No, we're not going to beat the Clippers.
I mean,
I said we'll beat the Jazz. That actually, yeah, we might lose. We might just go 0-4.
we should beat the Jazz, bro.
We'll
Come
beat
on.
the Jazz or the Clippers. We'll be one of the two.
You can't
But
get both.
maybe we'll win tomorrow because Wemby always goes extra hard against Chet. Last season we weren't supposed to beat him a couple times and we did. But we'll see.
Dude,
Tough
yeah.
task ahead.
Thunder, we're probably gonna get blown out. I'm not gonna lie.
over there.
They look
I
way
would
too
love to
good.
keep it close, especially because we're on freaking national TV again. Just keep it close for the TNT boys to talk good about us, please.
Yeah, well,
Yeah.
Charles just
Shaq
doesn't
wants
revert
talk
to
mess.
freaking churros and talking shit.
Exactly.
And Shaq's gonna try to discount Wemby every chance
He
he
will.
gets.
He already
So
did it on the opening night. Did y'all see
Gosh.
it last
yeah,
week?
he
He
did.
already did. He already said
Made
Bull
another
that
Bull
night.
Bull comparison.
Yeah, on
Oh
night
my
one.
gosh.
I love Shaq, but I mean, what is he insecure?
I think
Is
it's
he worried about Wemby long
all
term?
about ego.
it's insecure. I don't know, actually. It's weird. It's weird. I
I feel
think
like
it was
he's
that, or he
threatened.
made one take, and I think it was misconstrued a little bit. And then he was like, "No, I got to ride with this take." Like, I know what he was trying to say about the whole bull thing. He's
The
like,
Bull Bull take, yeah.
yeah, but then he just completely just stuck with it after he got a little bit of pushback. So there's that, and I think there's a little bit of insecurity. Whatever, Shaq. I love you, but come on, man.
So what do you guys think in the next four? Is
I
one and
think that
three accurate? Would y'all be super happy with the 2-2?
I think we'll go 2-2. I do think we drop another one to the Thunder. Stu, you said we beat them twice, last season, even
When
even
we
though we
weren't
probably shouldn't
supposed
have.
to.
Yeah,
Exactly.
and so I'm sure they're
It's one of
pissed
them
about
that
it.
Wemby takes personal, but
Yes,
are we
yes.
home or away?
We're away.
Oh,
Away.
20,
Yeah.
25 or more. Oh God.
Bro, yeah.
Wemby
I'm
won't even
sorry.
play the fourth. Yeah.
The Thunder look so damn good, and they're going to be a problem for a long time. Just like I think we're going to be a problem for a long time, the Thunder are going to be a problem for a long time.
Yeah.
They
They
switched
already
out
are a
Josh
problem.
Giddey for Caruso. Is essentially that was their big
Yeah.
move on
Hardenstein's
top of
not even playing
Hartenstein, but
yet.
Not
Hartenstein's
even
hurt. Yeah,
Yeah. And they're
but
already killing
draft
people.
picks.
the one thing is Jay Will, Jalen Williams. Y'all see that one picture going around? He looks like he had a James Harden fat suit on the other night. He made it his profile picture on Twitter. So maybe he's slow. But no, as far as the next four games, I think we're gonna get blown out by the Thunder. I think the Jazz is a W. Timberwolves, I think it'll be kind of like competitive for three quarters, and then Ant-Man goes crazy, lose by 15. Clippers, I think we have a chance. I think we have a chance against the Clippers. Only reason they beat the Nuggets the other night was Norman Powell went for 37.
Made like
Get the
eight
hell out of
threes.
here.
Yeah.
So I don't see that really happening very often. I think we could go 2-2. But it's not going to be competitive. It's going to you know, get beat by 25 W, get beat by 15-20, and then another close W.
I think we lose the bookends and we win the middle two games. I think the Timberwolves, I think we can somehow, early part of the season, um, maybe win against them. I don't know. We'll see. And then, Clippers, they always seem to play well against us as well. I don't remember the last time we beat the Clippers, but it seems like a long time.
Yeah. Uh, I'll say 2-2. I say I say we'll beat the Jazz, and I don't know which one we win between Minnesota and the Clippers, but I say we win one of those. Like you were saying about the Clippers beating the Nuggets, I don't know how good the Nuggets are going to be this year. That
That's the
they
other
don't
thing.
they don't
Yeah.
have depth. They're relying
Re-
on these like older draft picks. They drafted like 22-year-olds and asking a lot of these guys. So anyway, I
Mm.
I think Denver might be in a little bit of trouble. We'll see.
Regardless of our record over the next four games, what do you guys hope to see um, from our boys? I mean, if there's anything in particular as far as just like growth, little baby steps of growth that you'd like to see, is it more consistency, meaning we play, hard for the over the course of the 48 minutes, better rotations, playing together, anything in particular that you all hope to see over the next four games?
My thing is, I think guys leaning into, I can't believe I'm talking about Chris Paul on the Spurs still, but I think the guys leaning into Chris Paul a little bit more. I think he loves to grab that ball quick and go and run out sometimes and then slow it down others. And I think guys are still kind of getting used to the times where are we speeding it up or are we going to slow it down? So I think continuing to lean into the leadership at the point guard position for us there can help us steady the ship and maybe get Wemby more consistent high level play instead of these bursts.
Mhm.
That's one thing I'd like to see us do a little bit. It's just lean into Chris Paul when he's on the court, let him truly run things and just play off of him. But it's going to take a little bit of time to get that understanding of what he's doing and what he wants. So
Mm.
as I settle into his game a little bit more, I think we'll look more together. That might be a key for us.
Yeah, I agree, dude. I want Chris to be more aggressive on offense. Well, there's no way we're going to be anywhere near playoffs or play in if Chris is having 3 to 6 points a night, like he had two of our first three games. He's getting those 8 assists, but he's got to be, as a starter in the NBA, starting point. I know he's 40 or whatever. He's got to be averaging at least 10 points a game, be a little more aggressive. He's been waiting until we're down to start shooting
Mm.
some threes. And that's when he's knocking them down. But yeah, I would love to see a lot more high pick and roll with him and Wimby and let him get to his little mid range jumper that he loves
Yep.
and knock a few of those down in the first quarter to get going and get Wimby some dunks. And I'll just really everyone feeds off Chris and Wimby. So I really want Chris to be a little more aggressive on offense.
Mm.
Yeah. I want to see what Jeremy looks like the next 3, 4 games. See if he can keep this up. That'd be great. I want to see Wemby look like he did in the first Houston game,
Yeah.
where he was more in the paint. He had 29. He was dominating. Other 2 games, he was doing that thing where he was settling for those long threes and
Mhm.
long twos. I don't like those shots at all. Like you guys said, Chris Paul, a little more aggressive. He kind of started doing it in crunch time last night. But yeah, him getting to his mid range, guys cutting and seeing that he's dicing up the defense a little bit, trying to find cutting lanes. And Stefan Castle, his defense, we already talked about it. It's been great. And we've talked about his pace and how he looks like a vet out there. But there's been some moments these first 3 games where he's looked a little sped up. Maybe he's still getting used to the speed of the NBA. But yeah, more Steph, especially in crunch time. I want to see it because when Devin comes back, I don't know how many crunch time minutes he's going to get.
Yeah, I agree with you, Tim. Especially on the Wemby side, it is so interesting to see. We kind of saw this again last year, where Pop said we're just gonna let him do what he's gonna do, and then we'll just kind of play around that, and then come up with the game plan towards the middle of the season when it comes to Wemby and how in his play style, right? So we just want to let him loose and just see everything that he can do. So um, you saw that whenever he moved to the 5 and he moved closer to the basket, that he
Yeah.
we automatically became more dominant. And so it's I don't know if he hates it or what, because I know he loves I
Loves
idolizes
KD.
loves KD, his
Yeah.
Yeah.
slim body type, the
I mean,
cross
he hit that
over.
logo three. It looks sick when it happens, but I hear what
It
you're saying.
does. No, I know it does. And that Hezi pull on Hezi pull up 3 on Sengun, that step
Yep.
back on the third game
Yep.
to cut it to, in the fourth quarter against Sengun as well. Like that's amazing stuff. And I know he can do it, but it's
Can't rely on it though. Yeah.
yeah,
That can be a couple times a game if he's living down in the paint.
totally. You know what they tell guards is like if you can establish yourself um as a shooter first, right? Then it just becomes so much harder for the defense to read you, right? You give them one quick little up fake and you can get to the basket really quick. And so it's almost the opposite for Wemby. I feel like, he should probably start on the block, and he's so creative around the basket still. He can go up and under guys, and he gave that up and under, and he just dunked it from the freaking almost
Yeah, dude.
felt like the
Yeah,
free
Yeah.
from
throw
Free
line.
throw
front. Yeah,
line.
He can
that's
score
gross.
because his arms are so dang long. He's got an 8-foot wingspan. So whether it be getting to the free throw line or just, using his new strength to, get on the board, get some points on the board, and then move out to the 3-point line, right? If it's a transition 3 or something, like I'd like to see that a little bit more as well. So, yeah, great points, guys. Kind of going into Devin Vassell update for the Spurs Bros. Devin Vassell just got recently assigned to the Austin Spurs training camp. So I guess that's part of him and City Sissoko have both been assigned to the Austin Spurs G League training camp. So that's I guess Devin's next rehab step, and I guess he's still going to be evaluated come November 1st, so in a few days or so. But I'm curious to see him back. I want him back as fast as possible.
Pop said after the game on Monday that he's going to be back first week of November. So,
Oh, great!
that is confirmed from Pop. I don't know which game it's going to be, but yeah, the whole plan was he's definitely going to miss the first 5 games, which would put him. I think that would look like a return against the Timberwolves later this week. So, if things go to plan, a couple games in Austin, goes and plays against the Timberwolves. Hell of a test coming back playing against Anthony Edwards. But yeah, I would love for Vassell to come back and step right in. But what do y'all think about rotations? Who's going to lose out on minutes? I feel like Malachi is going to drop some. I feel like probably Trey Jones is going to drop some. Castle's going to drop a little bit. Champagne's going to get knocked to the bench. But do y'all see that coming from any one player, or do you think it's going to be more spread out?
I definitely see Malachi losing minutes. Probably Blake too. I don't really see Trey losing minutes. I think he's kind of set in stone as the backup point guard.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably mostly Malachi and Blake.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I completely agree.
So Trey Jones established point guard or backup point guard. So that means we're playing Castle mostly at the 2 then going forward. That's kind
Is
of
it
a
even
backup to Vassell.
crazy? Is it crazy to even consider Vassell being in our backup group?
Yes.
Just be the
Yes,
guy.
that's crazy.
Why? Why?
Yes.
Why? Do y'all think Julian will have the same impact in the backup group as he has with the starters?
Why
Because
not
he's not
better?
getting it. Because he'll be the guy in the backup group, but he can't do shit. He can't create like Devin can.
I mean, he's playing with
Right now
Keldon,
he's doing good
Castle,
because
Malachi.
all the focus is on Wemby, Jeremy cutting. He's getting a lot of wide open threes.
That's an interesting point, but
Is
I
that
feel like you got
crazy? I
to.
know he's our highest paid. I know all that stuff. But I mean, dude, Devin could come in and be the Manu, average 25 off the bench or something,
Yeah, can't
and
do
You ain't
that.
gonna do that.
just be the guy.
I
That's
like it.
not
I like
Vassell.
it. Hey, I like
Yeah,
this.
it's an interesting idea, but it's not going to happen. Like I think there's
Yeah.
just certain guys where you know if they play, they're going to
All right,
start.
y'all will
Yeah.
see.
Yeah.
When we're three,
I
when
mean,
we're
hey, I was
three,
okay.
when we're 4-15, and I'll say, man, dude, look at that. We're playing even with all the starting fives, but then the bench comes in, we just get shit on every game.
Yeah, and Julian's averaging 2 points a game at that point.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay,
Uh,
something that one of my buddies asked me was, what if Harrison Barnes gets knocked to the bench?
Right.
We play
nah,
CP with Vassell, Champagny, Sohan, and Wimby, and Harrison Barnes comes off the bench. Is that a possibility?
I
Could
could
be.
see
Could be.
that.
who would the second five be?
So second five would be Trey,
Keldon.
um, Castle,
Keldon.
Keldon, Barnes, and Zach Collins. I mean, I know that knocks Malachi and Blake basically out of the rotation completely, but that's what that would look like most likely.
I don't mind it. I'd prefer Devin off the bench.
You prefer Devin Vassell off the bench.
Brother.
I mean,
Should
no.
Manu have ever been a bench player his whole life?
Well, that was supposed to be
No,
Keldon.
no,
Keldon
no.
was supposed to be the.
Well, Keldon was supposed to be. He ain't. Keldon's literally at the top of our players to trade. Devin is staying here. We've said that he's untouchable. Devin and Wemby.
Why are we even considering this? It's not going to happen. Why are we
Yeah,
even?
but
It's a legit take.
Okay,
Yeah, I
but why
get it.
why
We
are you
don't have a scorer.
prioritizing
We don't have a scorer on the bench.
why are you prioritizing
That's why
Julian
Zach's
Champagny
getting
instead of
15
Vassell?
shots a game
I know what you're saying actually, though.
because Champagny is more valuable with the starting group than he is off the bench. He won't have the open looks off the bench. Like
Because he
he
plays
has
that
them in
Danny
start,
Green
and he's
kinda
a
role.
catch and shoot. Yes, Danny Green wouldn't have been shit if he was in our second five.
I know what you're saying, Stu. I get it. Like you're right. He would
It's
definitely,
legitimate, yes.
but
And
I
Devin,
think
Trey passing off and just getting pick and rolls with Devin in the second group, him being the creator,
Yeah,
learn how to
Pop
pass a
tries some
little
funky
better.
stuff. I think he could play with that group quite a bit, but actually coming off the bench, I don't know if he'd
I
be
mean,
happy.
we
I
had
bet you
Jeremy
they.
Sohan, our starting point guard for 40 games last year. It's not too crazy to just ask him to put Devin off the bench for 5 games.
That's what I
See
said.
how it
Pop will try some
works.
funky stuff. He
Yeah,
That would
won't
I
be
think we
wrong.
should.
Well, I can also see Pop staggering Devin Vassell's minutes such that he is with the second
With the
group
second
more,
group, yeah.
like
When he
where
comes
Wemby's
back,
off.
yeah.
Yeah, Wemby's off the floor, and so he can be like the number one option and
And
just
God forbid, what if we win the next 4 or 5 games? Julian looks great with our starting group, and say, what, he's going to just come in and bring Devin in?
yeah.
Yes.
I mean, yeah. I think yeah.
Devin isn't that player to where he comes in, he's just a guaranteed starter. He's not that player.
Yeah, I don't think anybody is in Pop, like with
Well,
Popovich, right?
Wemby.
Like, yeah, Wemby is the only
Wemby's the
guy.
only one on our team. Devin
Yeah,
is not.
Pop has shown over the years that nobody's playing time or spot in the rotation is guaranteed, but you would expect Vassell to pop right
All
back
I'm
in. I don't
saying,
know.
Manu's whole career, he's a starter on 31 other teams his whole career.
Facts. Yeah,
I don't think
29
it's
other
some
teams.
crazy
Yeah.
take to
No,
ask
I don't
for
think it's.
Devin
I
to
don't
come
think
in
it's
and be that
crazy.
guy.
I think in theory it makes sense. I just don't see it happening in real life.
Especially this year. I mean, maybe if we had, if we somehow picked up like a Cooper Flag or something, right? Then you have the Wemby and you have the two guy, and then you have the guy who probably could start, aka Devin
Get me
Vassell,
going.
to come off the bench, right? That would
So what you're
make
saying if we were a little more deep.
yes. Like if we had a contending team. Yeah. What's up? What's up, Rylan? Guys, so we're gonna
Youngest little Spurs fan.
Yes, he is. What's
The
up,
youngest of the
Bubba?
Spurs bros.
Can you give us a wave?
You say hi?
Yeah, Spurs. He gave us a little
You want to say
soft
hi?
smile. Spurs Bros fans, yes, this is Mr. Ryland. That is the best guy right there. That is the GOAT. That is the GOAT. We love Ryland. Um,
Anyways, I mean,
Hey,
we
that's
can move on from Devin. We'll wait and see how it plays out, but
all
I
right.
like it, Stu. You're thinking outside the
I just do
box.
not think Julian will be valuable in the second group. Right now, he's valuable.
I get that point, and I agree with you on that.
And I know I don't remember Julian last season. Did he come off the bench and play
Didn't get
okay?
minutes.
He didn't get minutes. Yeah. Well, I know he started a lot last year, right? So, uh, whatever. That'll be interesting to see. And hey, that would be a great prediction if so. I'd love to clip this and then just post it. A couple other highs I wanted to touch on in our home opener against the Rockets. Bill Land had a retirement jersey and had a little retirement ceremony for him. He ended up joining the Spurs crew. He joined Sean Elliott. He graced us with the "Oh Mama Wembanyama." And then I think was it during halftime or something, they gave him they went on the court and he had the retirement jersey and the Bill Land on the back. But what was super cool and touching was that they gave him the number 32, and that was obviously Sean Elliott's number. But Sean Elliott said that they gave him 32 with his name on it because he carried him for the 21 season or for the however many seasons that they had been partner in crime together. So I thought that was absolutely beautiful. Definitely a tearjerker. And man, we're gonna miss Bill Land after 21 years as our announcer. So again,
RIP.
yeah, that was
Not
really
RIP yet. He's still here,
yeah,
but
he's still here,
RIP is the
guys.
announcer.
RIP as our
Now
announcer.
we have that young buck who can't even form a sentence. So,
You don't like Toby?
Dude, Toby's
guy's
great.
ass.
Jacob
He won't
Toby?
last more than 2 seasons.
Goodness gracious. All right. Hopefully Toby
I
doesn't
don't
see it.
like the guy.
Toby would probably be the one person in the Spurs organization to probably see this before anybody else, before Sean Elliott, before any
Right.
Spurs player. Like just
100%.
because he's still on the come up and he's trying to maybe, consume all Spurs content. Dude, that's the first thing you want him to see is you calling him ass.
After 3 games. Bro, I
Would he
thought
Would
he
he
was
prefer me to
good.
lie?
No,
Yeah,
go back to Spurs Bros podcast. Go look at the reels that we put out on Instagram from the preseason dunks with Keldon with Castle. I thought those were good calls.
those are good calls.
Snatched his soul. He took a body.
Yeah, I
I
like
don't
it.
know, man. It got me hyped, and it was
He's working on it.
preseason.
And he's got the humility. I don't know if you saw him. Stop it, Stu. See, that's just pessimist,
Thumbs
Stu.
down.
Yeah. He had the humility to, I don't know if you saw this. He had a little interview with Pop. He asked him a question or two, and he said, "Hey, do you have any advice for me?" Pop told him, he's like, "Just be yourself. And people don't like it, then screw them." That's what he said. So he said, "Just be
Screw
yourself."
me then.
There you go. All right, whatever. We're off that topic. We're off the Toby topic.
In-season tournament court drops. What y'all think about that? Did y'all see it?
I have not seen it yet. Would love to see it live.
No, I haven't. You want
I
to?
like it. I like it better than last year's, that's for sure.
I missed it.
Is
Very
it
good. You
just
can
as
spoil it,
funky?
folks.
Yeah, it's going off of the city jerseys that we've got. Not the city jerseys, the alternate jerseys, where we've got kind of that Native American kind of tribal pattern. It's the gray and the blacks with that alternate logo, the Texas symbol on there as the whole backcourt. I kind of like it. It's better than last year. I thought last year's was kind of aggressive, but this year's looks pretty nice. So go check that out. We'll put it up on Spurs Bros Pod on Instagram and on Twitter over the weekend. When is that in-season tournament game?
I don't know.
Which one counts for it?
I think I want to say the first one is November 15th against
Yep,
the
against the Lakers. Yep, nailed it, Tim.
Lakers. Yeah.
Oh, for one, who else we got in our group?
Gosh, man. You think the Lakers beat us?
OKC, that's an L.
Oh,
Yeah.
0-2.
Utah, we could win that one. And Phoenix. Eh.
Yeah, we're not making it to Vegas, boys.
Yeah, that's gonna be tough sledding.
Dude.
That's tough
Gosh.
sledding.
Well, you never
Especially if
know.
LeBron's going to go all hard like last year. Try to
Nah, he
freaking
won't.
hang another banner.
Nah, he won his $500,000 or whatever. that he didn't
Yeah,
need.
but now he wants Bronny to win it. So
Right.
Yeah.
Well,
Back-to-back
say he
in-season
won a
champs.
trophy.
They did rename it to they got a sponsor finally. It's the
Isn't
Emirates
it
NBA Cup
Barclays
now.
or yeah, Emirates?
Emirates. Oh,
Emirates.
wow.
Yeah. So it's a real tournament now, boys.
All
Sounds a
right.
little
But
yeah, cool.
yeah, we'll
There you
see.
go. They threw a quick billion at it or something. I don't know. That money is no object for those guys out there, man.
No, not at
Yeah,
all.
the UAE. Something interesting that I also wanted to talk about, sort of a high, also an interesting set that I saw in the season opener against the Mavs, which was that Wemby had gone 41 games in a row with recording at least one block. And so I think he had 3 and 4 the next 2 games against the Rockets. And so that makes it 43 games in a row with at least one block. The other guy who was closest was, I think, Miles Turner with like a 4 or 14 games or something. I think it was 14 games.
Like
So
14 or 15, yeah.
that's pretty cool to
Triple
see.
the next closest guy. He's a monster, dude. It's
He's a monster.
crazy.
Yeah.
Yeah, I
If he
don't
relies on luck.
see where that streak would stop. So
Yeah.
Yeah, like how? I mean, I'm not going to say the I word here, but that's the only barring
yeah,
that, that's the only way that he's not going to get a block in a
absolutely.
game.
Yeah.
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 There were literally odds going into the season if you want to bet Wemby to get a quadruple double. Like I forgot what the odds were, but yeah, that's
Like
usually
when have you ever seen that? Yeah, it's
The
crazy.
fact that's an option to bet on is
yeah.
crazy. Doesn't happen since David Robinson in the 90s, dude.
That's
It's been
exactly
30
right.
years since that happened.
I
That's
don't know if
insane.
I don't know if y'all remember this, but I did say that in our group message. I mean, again, this is I was like, man, imagine this happening. And then Reagan, you said, I'm going to screenshot this for when this actually does happen. And so I was pumped about it until it became like not an original take anymore. I thought about it. We posted in the group message, but now everyone's talking about it on social media so much so that, now people, you can even bet on it happening. So I think it happens sometime or another. I don't know when, but um, do you think it happens this season? Anyone? It's so
No,
tough. It's so hard. It's so hard to do.
I don't think this season.
Yeah, no.
Dude,
He
yeah,
doesn't have
literally
he doesn't have that assist game down yet.
October 20th of last year, Alex said, I think Wemby is going to be the first player since D-Rob to have a quadruple double.
I was first. I say we should search Twitter, and I think I'm first.
Is it going to happen? That's a crazy thing to try to predict. There's no way to predict it, I don't think. Like, it's just going to be happenstance. Like, ball
Yeah,
bounces the right way. Like, he gets
yeah.
a one play where it's like 3 blocks in a row, happens twice, and guys knock down every shot that he passes to him. I don't know.
So much has to go right. I know he recorded the 10 block game, I believe it was, right? Against
Mhm.
Toronto, was it? And so,
Yep.
but you saw that. I mean, like, was it Grady Dick or whatever? He was like kind of like falling down and he just threw a shot up and Wemby
Yeah,
swatted it.
stuff
Like there's
like that to get easy little blocks.
Yeah.
yeah, to get 10 blocks. Like it's just so hard to do, even Wemby being Wemby. Like I feel like he's so large and he's so long that guys are like, no, if he's anywhere in the vicinity, just turn around and kick it out or kick it to somebody else. So
Yeah, dude. I mean, they made that full like 5 minute highlight clip from guys last year, like dribbling out the fast break because Wimby's
Hmm.
chasing them or is in the way. It's 3-on-1,
right,
and they all kick it
And they don't even get a
left,
shot
right,
out of
left,
it.
right, and they set up their offense all over again. It's crazy.
right,
Never seen it before.
exactly.
So
Yeah, last season. We'll go ahead,
I
Tim.
was looking at the game log from last year, or his game logs, to see what the closest he came to it was. Uh, the Denver game, not the last game of the season when we beat them, but it was like 5 games before that. He had 23, 15, 8, and 9. So he was literally 2 assists
Ooh,
and 1 block away.
forward.
jeez,
So, forgot he
Ooh,
came
That's
back.
gross, dude.
as a
that's
rookie,
gross. That's a
that's crazy.
19, 20-year-old.
Maybe
Wow.
I
maybe it will
mean,
happen this year then.
yeah, hearing that,
But
it
again,
will
you just can't
happen.
because that's
Is
against
it this
Denver, one of the
year?
best teams. You just don't know when it'll happen.
Yeah, yeah.
All right. So again, we've got 4 games between our next recording: Thunder, Jazz, Timberwolves, and Clippers. Let's see if we can hopefully go 2-2. Stu says we go 1-4, maybe. Yes, Stu says, or 1-3. We will hopefully have the lines by tomorrow, and we can do another little Spurs Bros line and we'll get it rolling.
From the Spurs Bros,
Go
go
Spurs.
Spurs, go.